Sherilyn Fenn's rise to fame is the kind of Hollywood story that doesn't happen often. Before she became the unforgettable Audrey Horne in Twin Peaks, she was making a name for herself in a very different corner of the industry. In the chaotic world of mid-80s low-budget cinema, she wasn't just another face in the crowd, she was something else entirely. With piercing blue eyes, dark hair, and an undeniable presence, she brought something different to the screen. Something that set her apart from the typical all-American girl-next-door actresses Hollywood was flooded with at the time. Born on February 1, 1965, in Detroit, Michigan, Fenn was surrounded by creativity from an early age. Her father was a musician, and her mother split her time between acting and exotic dancing. That artistic energy followed her when she moved to Los Angeles as a teenager. But breaking into Hollywood in the 80s wasn't easy, especially for someone who didn't fit the traditional mold. It was a time when independent films and straight-to-video releases thrived, and many up-and-coming actors had to be bold to get noticed. And bold was exactly what Sherilyn Fenn was willing to be. Her early career was defined by roles that leaned into the rebellious, the seductive, and sometimes the absurd. One of her first films, The Wildlife, 1984, was a teenage comedy that tried to capture the magic of fast times at Ridgemont High, but with a heavier focus on skin than story. Then came Out of Control, 1985, a wild, low-budget adventure where she played a high schooler stranded on a deserted island. It was the kind of film that might have been forgotten if not for the way Fenn commanded attention on screen. Even when the scripts weren't great, she made them worth watching. She continued carving out a niche for herself in edgy, unconventional roles. In Thrashin', 1986, a skateboarding drama starring Josh Brolin, she played a magnetic bad girl who stole every scene she was in. But the film that really put her on the map was Two Moon Junction, 1988, a steamy, over-the-top romance that became an instant cult classic. Directed by Zalman King, it was packed with melodrama, soft-focus cinematography, and plenty of moments that left audiences talking. Fenn played a restless Southern belle caught in a passionate affair with a carnival worker, and she gave the kind of performance that could have easily been overshadowed by the film's more sensational elements. But instead, she elevated it. Years later, she reflected on that period of her career, saying it wasn't just about being fearless when it came to nudity. It was about taking on messy, complicated characters and making them feel real. While many actors who started in B-movies faded into obscurity, Fenn was different. There was an honesty in her performances, even when the material was far from prestigious. And that honesty paid off when David Lynch came calling. In 1990, she landed the role that would change everything. Audrey Horne in Twin Peaks. Audrey wasn't just another high school beauty. She was seductive, mysterious, and always one step ahead of everyone else. With her saddle shoes and perfectly styled hair, she seemed like a callback to classic film noir femme fatales, but she was also something completely original. And that hypnotic, slow-motion dance in the Double R Diner? Pure magic. Fenn brought a mix of danger and vulnerability to the role that made her one of the most unforgettable characters on television. It wasn't just about being sexy. Audrey was clever, ambitious, and far more complex than she first appeared. That balance between charm and unpredictability was exactly what made her performance so legendary. Even with Twin Peaks making her a household name, Fenn never abandoned the world of independent films. While some actors would have used that success to chase only mainstream roles, she continued embracing offbeat, unconventional projects. She knew how to move between surrealist storytelling and gritty B-movie energy in a way that few others could, and that ability became the defining characteristic of her career. Looking back, Sherilyn Fenn's early years in Hollywood were anything but conventional. She didn't just follow the typical path, she made her own. She took risks, played roles that others might have dismissed, and proved that talent can shine even in the most unexpected places. While Twin Peaks may have given her mainstream recognition, Her legacy as a fearless performer was built long before she ever stepped into the town of Twin Peaks. And for those who look beyond the polished, well-known parts of her career, there's a treasure trove of performances that showcase exactly why she's always been one of a kind.